interpretation of this private third-party access appears to be flawed. Why?
Maybe they would like to interpret things, a narrative that suits them. The national rail policy is clear of what third-party access is. And initially, when it was presented, we were told that this is a third-party access that they're working for. And eventually, we were told, no, it's a pilot project. And my problem with that is that when the president delivers the State of the Nation address, it does not only deliver to me and you, but to investors as well. So if the president says from the 1st of April, this is what's going to happen in this country as number one, and then you have maybe government number two somewhere doing something different. So there's a lot of misalignment. There's a lot of I would even say undermining the president, the national development plan, undermining the ruling government.
And I was reading your statement, and I'm surprised that you say that 2 companies took part in this whole process of auctioning of the slots. Tell us more. Where were the other companies?
No, it gets funny, actually. So when the initial bid was done, Transnet was very proud that 19 people participated to tick the boxes. But people really just wanted to have information. So, but we told them that this is flawed. That there's no money that is going to come to invest in a criteria that is not investor friendly. They insisted that it is. Eventually, from 19 companies, then there was the bid, and 1 company got there. And the name of the company is Traction, but Traction is one of our members. But it's not right that we can only have 1 company that wins the bid. Where is the transformation in that? How do we then open the market to the black industrialists that a government has always talked about? How do we transform a transformed in industry? So once Traction has got the bid, what about Nhlapo in the township? Because the rules are such that Nhlapo cannot go and raise funds, but Traction has money to do the bidding and maybe buy a rolling stock. But we must be decisive about these things in the country. Our youth, our young men and women are losing hope in the townships because there's no work. We try on our side through internships, and now we're going into identifying people that would have never been employees, but they would employ themselves and others. So that is the little that we can do. But we cannot have a state-owned entity that is supposed to grow the industry, the economy, and be the backbone of the economy, and not implementing what the government has pronounced on already.
And let's talk about, what you're mentioning, the issue of Nhlapo in the township, because this is quite critical as you touch on the issue of transformation. But is Nhlapo going to only experience the impediment of financing, or are there other onerous terms and conditions that Nhlapo might have to deal with this in order to try and be part of this?
There are many. One, Nhlapo does not have access to information. So, for instance, when you're an operator, you have to comply with the regulator rules. Nhlapo could be an inspector, could go and study and be an inspector. If Nhlapo were to be an operator, the rules and regulations around being an operator are quite tight. And that is a conversation that we need to have with the railway safety regulator on how do we transform the sector and gradually bring in Nhlapo PTY Ltd into the sector. And but as things stand now, the decisions that favor capital and not the majority of the people of this country will remain a problem.
What does it then mean, in the context of attracting investors to this particular sector? Because apart from stimulating the economy, apart from creating jobs, apart from giving third-party access, there was also talk of talked about and much needed investment in this particular sector.
Investment comes, and unfortunately, we are now starting to have a reputation of not creating a healthy environment. The timber industry, for instance, is one of the presidential flagship program. I mean, there was a force majeure. They're not getting the service that they're supposed to be getting. That has an impact on the rural economy, actually, around those communities. And then also then you have the yearly investor drive that the president drives. You have Ford investing in the country. But up until today, there's no clear way on how we're going to address the automotive sector, moving from the manufacturer side and rail being an enabler for export purposes. So for us, it's no-brainer, but we don't know why the people that are supposed to make the decisions in the best interest of the country are not making those decisions. But maybe we should start asking ourselves is that are state-owned entities, particularly those that are supposed to deliver on the mandate for operators, are they being run by people that understand railways? Because for me, it's not that somebody do not know their work, they're not competent or anything. I'm not suggesting that. But you need to go into an industry that you know very well in order to excel at it, in order for you to deliver on the mandate of government. So maybe that is a question that we need to start asking. Do we have the right people in place? Has there been a brain drain at Transnet? Now there were VSPs, people left, and we're still talking about plans.
And, you know, you touch on that, and one thinks about the numbers. I mean, 1.7 billion tons of freight moved annually via road. And some say that if you open to third parties, you could halve these numbers and open up for more sectors to then be able to benefit. So are the bottlenecks only where decision-making is concerned, or is there something more at play here that we may not be seeing?
Look, we like to think that at the moment is decision-making. Some of the issues that the leadership has to grapple with, I mean, vandalism. But you can also look at the vandalism from a point of view that you compare the years that from this year to this year there was vandalism, and compared to the volumes that were moved in that particular time. So our opinion is that any underutilization of the track will automatically attract criminals and on that. So once we were like at high volumes, let's compare if we had vandalism at high rates. Madlamini cannot just go and put a shack on top of a railway line. It's because that railway line has not been used for such a long time that it became possible for Madlamini to put her shack there. So the neglect of the infrastructure and not having the right people, the right railway men and women to run the railways, it's one of the key problems that that got us here as a country.
And definitely, you know, infrastructure maintenance is another huge issue, all on its own. But thank you so much for coming in. Always a pleasure to have you in studio.
I just wanted to cover the maintenance. We did an analysis of Transnet financial statements, and we realized that over the period of 10 years, actually, the maintenance spend has dramatically gone down.
Wow. And that then begs the question as to where is all of that money going? Because, I mean, maintaining infrastructure is all about preserving it for future generations. But thank you so much for coming in. Do appreciate it. And one certainly hopes to see what happens then with this particular story. That was African Rail Industry Association CEO, Mesela Nhlapo.